Hello everyone, Sleck here, and today we are comparing 5 popular AP farming locations and deciding which one is best. Before we start, I just want to explain how we measured our AP gain and which metrics we will be using to decide on which location is best. Each location was subjected to 15 minutes of grinding. We used fresh copies of HP Up to track AP gain. We also played all farming locations on easy, so if you're farming AP on a different difficulty setting, your results may vary. For these runs, our main party included Cloud, Barrett and Yuffie, with one exception where we could only bring in 2 party members. For this one, we just went with Cloud and Barrett. For each location we equipped 4 HP Up materials to confirm how the AP was spread. These groups are Control, Enhanced, In Party and Not In Party. With that all out of the way, we can now jump into our first farming location. Starting off with a combat sim, Grasslands Region Intel Level 1. We have seen this one suggested by a few online sources and it is recommended as an early farm location. We weren't too sure how good this one was going to be, but we tried it out anyway. To unlock this combat sim, you need to defeat 5 enemies in the Grasslands region. Not very difficult, and it is also available very early on in the game. Once you've done this, head over to Chadley where you can access this simulation. Each run is 5 rounds of monsters which were really easy to kill. We did this with a party of level 70 characters, all with strong gear and materia, and the enemies went down so easy you could essentially AFK farm these, as the AI deals so much damage to them so quickly. All you really need to do is press triangle every couple of minutes to reset the challenge. We managed 8 full runs and 1 round. We averaged 1 minute 52 for each of our runs, and our fastest run was 1:43. So, the results are: for our control group, 681 AP. For the enhanced group, 4086. For our in-party member, 681 AP. And finally, our out-of-party member, 0. Next up is a popular one, the Gungaga Loop. This is one we have seen mentioned in a few places online, such as social media platforms and also in the comments of our original AP farming video, so we had to include this one. We also noticed a few variations on how to perform this loop, so we will be going into detail on how we did our loop, so if you're not happy with the results you can always let us know in the comments where we can improve. So we started off at the Cliffside Storehouse, ran straight ahead and into the 3 mobs. Once defeated, we done a 180 and got on our chocobo and headed for the exit. Once outside, we headed to the left and into the 3 Granglans. These went down pretty fast, and once dispatched we hopped back on our chocobo and headed towards the Moogle Emporium to the north. On the way, we ran into a group of mobs including a Grandhorn. They took a little longer than the other mobs to defeat, but we then headed southeast towards the road where we encountered our final group in this loop. With all of the mobs defeated, we then performed the last part of this loop, which was to open the map and teleport to a zone other than Gungaga. Once we're teleported there, we just need to teleport back and then we can repeat this loop over and over. We managed 8¼ runs on this loop with an average time of 1 minute 49 seconds, with our fastest lap coming in at 1 minute 40. Our control group gained 645 AP, our enhanced group gained 3870, our in-party group gained 645 and our out-of-party gained 645 also. Next up we have the Nibelheim Loop. I first became aware of this one in the comments of my last video, so I done some research and can see this is a semi-popular farming location. It's similar to the Gungaga Loop, as you will be following a trail, taking care of some mobs and then warping in and out of the zone to repeat the loop. Something else I should mention about this loop, and indeed the Gungaga Loop, is that they can also be good for farming certain crafting items, as you will no doubt be coming across these as you move in between the fights. We started off at the airstrip tower and began to head southeast, climbed down the rocks and ran into our first group of mobs. Once dealt with, we continued straight until we hit the road and then began heading north. Once we hit the crossroads, we took a right and headed down to our second fight. With these out of the way, we then headed back up the slope and followed the road until we found our third group of mobs. Again, made short work of these and then headed towards the bridge where we fought our fourth group of mobs. With these ones down, we then opened our map, teleported to the Choco stop in the most southwestern region of the map, and then ran ahead into the large free mobs. Once they were down, we then turned around, headed back to the Choco stop, and just to the right there was another group of mobs, taking the count up to 6 and finishing this loop. We then repeated this loop until the 15 minutes were up. We only managed 6 runs on this loop and we had an average time of 2 minutes 30 per run. Our fastest was 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Our control group got 549 AP, our enhanced group gained 3,294, our in-party gained 549 and our not in-party gained 549 also. Next up we have a run suggested to us by a viewer in the comments of another video. This isn't one we'd heard of before, but we're really excited to try this one out, and that is the Cosmo Canyon Farm. This one we really liked as it was super straightforward and was easily repeatable, sharing many of the benefits of the methods such as the Combat Simulator and Muscle Museum, but with the added bonus of providing AP to all party members. We headed over to the first Fiend Intel World Intel, Wizards of the Waste, and equipped Cloud with the Magnify materia and a Mastered Fire and Ice. It's only the Ice we are interested in here, so if you have higher level Ice materia than the combined Fire and Ice, use that instead. We also made sure to have the first Strike materia equipped to Cloud as we needed 2 ADP charges as soon as possible. With all that ready, we then started the event. Built our ATB to 2 charges and then cast Blizzaga, wiping out all of the enemies in one go. We repeated this for the entire 15 minutes and we only had to stop every now and then to replenish our mana. We managed 26 full runs with an average time of 35 seconds per run with a fastest time of 32 seconds. Our results are Control Group 756 AP, Enhanced 4,536, In-Party gain of 756 and finally a not in-party gain of 756 AP. And finally, the subject of our initial video, the Muscle Museum 2-person bout, Devil May Care Desperados. Now, we have made a slight change to our setup compared to the original by equipping the elemental materia to Cloud's weapon and pairing it with fire. I would also like to thank those in the comments who brought this to our attention because they were 100% correct and we were able to get 4-second runs pretty consistently with this. For those of you new to this method, you essentially go into the Muscle Museum at the Gold Saucer, choose the 2-person bout Devil May Care Desperados and just do the first round. Once you've cleared the bugs from the first round, wait for the game to load, go into the menu, choose Give Up and then just re-challenge. We managed 20 runs in our 15 minutes with an average of 45 seconds and also a fastest of 45 seconds. Given that it was only taking 4 seconds to actually kill the mobs themselves, it does go to show how much time we're wasting with both the animation and the loading time. Our control gain was 1008 AP, our enhanced gain was 6048, our in-party gain was 1008, and our not in party gain was 0. Okay, we have our data. To determine the best AP farming location, we multiplied the standard AP per hour by the number of characters that could potentially gain AP, and then again by 12. The reason for the 12 is that we're assuming that every character obtaining AP has a weapon and armour with 6 slots. We know there is equipment available with more slots, but given that most people farming AP probably haven't obtained all of this and multiple copies, we thought that going with 12 was a decent enough number to showcase, and it also makes it a bit easier to work it out yourself if you want to add additional slots. Coming in last place, we have the Muscle Museum 2-person bout Devil May Care Desperados. With a max slot AP per hour of 96,768, the subject of my last video claiming to be the best appears to be the worst. Or does it? Based on max slots AP gain, then yes, this is indeed the worst. But when we take into account the enhanced AP per hour, this one actually came out on top. The takeaway here is, if you have a large variety of material you're trying to level, this is not your best option. But if you have one or two material that require a large amount of AP to level, then you may still wish to consider this as a very viable option. Coming in fourth is the Grasslands region Intel 1. Let down by the limited number of party members obtaining AP, the Grasslands farm comes in with a max slot AP per hour of 98,064. Unlike our previous entries, however, the enhanced AP per hour is also rather low compared to others on this list, so we feel that its recommendation as an early game AP farming location is warranted. That isn't to say you should disregard this entirely, however. As we found when testing, this is very easy to AFK farm with only limited input required to select re-challenge at the end of the 5 rounds. Next up we have the Nibelheim loot coming in at number 3. Compared to the last 2 entries, this one absolutely smashes the max slots AP per hour with 184,464. However, we should also note that this is the lowest enhanced AP gain loot we have tested. We feel the main reason for the low score here is down to the multiple teleport requirements, but this isn't a bad route, and it also gives you the opportunity to pick up some materials on your travels. Coming in hot at the number 2 spot, we have the Gungaga loot. Although it may not be first, the Gungaga loot comes in with an impressive max slots AP per hour of 216,720, putting it far ahead of the previous entries on this list. And just like the Nibelheim loot, it benefits from you also being able to collect crafting materials whilst you farm. So this means our number 1 spot and crown for best location to farm AP goes to Cosmo Canyon Fiend Intel Wizards of the Waste. Stomping the competition with over 250,000 max slots AP gain per hour, and also gaining our 2nd place spot for enhanced AP per hour. We love mostly everything about this location. It was easy to complete, easy to repeat, and didn't require any travelling or teleporting once in position. So, this has been our best place to farm AP guide, and I want to thank everyone who left comments on our previous videos which inspired us to make this. It's been great fun to create, and hopefully we've been able to help you all out. If you feel we got anything wrong in this video, or if you know of any locations that can beat our number 1 spot, please let us know in the comments below. And remember, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out.